Welcome back to the channel. We have another one from River. So let's just get into it without any delay.
I got to always learn how to talk to the king in you. I don't care how mad I get. And I learned that in therapy, that for me to manifest the man that I wanted in my life, I had to learn how to always speak to him like the man I wanted in my life, even when I'm mad at him.
Teach that shit.
You know what I'm saying?
Say it again.
And I had to learn how to speak to the man that I wanted in my life all the time. I needed to speak to him as
your
that
king.
man.
Ooh.
Right? To where when we
Even when he acting like a court jester?
Yes.
Okay.
Even when we get upset with each other, there are rules. We don't hit below the belt. Like, it's a lot of things and a lot of growing that I've done, but we've all got to get to that place.
So I saw this video when I was scrolling through social media, and I absolutely wanted to touch on this. And one of the main reasons why I wanted to touch on it is because I feel as though, there's a lot of focus on people who be, extremely getting it wrong, right? Like, a lot of times we focus on the extremes of women who out here just acting a clear fool, just doing the utmost. And I think that there's conversations within conversations that need to be had for the women who feel as though, they cook for their man, they clean, they're loyal to him, they're faithful to him. They do certain things, they follow certain diagrams of what a woman is supposed to do, or how a woman is supposed to be. But there's also a deeper conversation to that, because a woman who cooks, cleans, is supportive, a woman who is going out of her way to make sure that certain things are comfortable in his home space. A woman can do all of the above. She can be beautiful. She could be a lady in the streets, freaking the sheets. She can do all the above. But you see, once that woman does not know how to respect her man, she's lost.
All right. So hadn't done one for River in a long time. And actually, this narrative has started to go through social media. I've been really excited about it because this is my narrative, actually, the narrative of balance. And those that have hung around my channel for a long period of time know that's what I'm always talking about. It also makes me feel like I need to do more to get myself out on Instagram and on TikTok, because, that is literally my narrative. And I run into so many people now that are starting to do that. They're starting to talk this way. And I think it's because people are recognizing that all this stuff is sensational. It's just all this sensationalism, and people are making a lot of money off of it. Like I said, no disrespect to people's hustle, but what damage are you doing to the Black community while you're doing this? And can you really be happy, knowing that, you could be doing serious damage? Now, so I am 100% with River on this. I've been excited that this narrative has been going on. River's tripping me out, because she definitely got her eye work done. She's, glammed up a little bit today. So that's actually cool to see as well, because it's always cool to see people's evolution. But to what the lady was saying, I definitely agree with that. We have to get into a place where a woman has to know that the man that is down for you, he's down for you. If y'all are trying to work into a relationship, y'all trying to go into life together, you need to work with him, try to move into a place where everything is working together. And I like the fact how she said, don't hit below the belt. Because everybody has triggers. We all have emotional triggers. And most of the time, your person will figure out your emotional triggers. Why? Because they've been around you long enough. And so they've seen your reaction to certain things. But we sometimes get into this mindset, we want to hurt the other person. And one of the things that I've learned, and I had to learn this the hard way, is that no one can win an argument. No one. The only way that you win an argument is for both people to win the argument, especially when you're in a good relationship, in a strong relationship, a loving relationship, a godly relationship. Because what's happening is when you win and your person loses, then you build resentment in that person, and vice versa. So you have to be putting yourself in a situation where you're trying to work through problems. You're not trying to blame the other person for their problem or a problem.
She's lost. And I think, again, this is the point of the conversation where there's so many women who, they have no problem, or they're sitting in spaces that they feel like, oh, well, I'm not the extreme, or maybe them and their spouse will get into an argument or a disagreement, and they will say, well, some other women will be breaking up stuff, some other women will be doing this, but at the end of the day, the word disrespect is like an umbrella. There are a lot of things that fall under that umbrella. It can be a tone of voice can be disrespectful. A smart remark or a witty remark can be disrespectful. It can be the smoothest, softest tone, and you can say something and it can be seen, it could be something that you said that's below the belt. It could be the rolling your eyes, the popping your neck. It can be talking to this person as if you're talking to a child or a dog, even. This is something that is going to help women sustain relationships or sustain the sweet spots of their relationship for the long haul.
I gotta say right there, that was brilliant. That was just absolutely brilliant. I have really nothing to add. I just have to get everybody that's watching me, you really needed to focus on what she said there. That was wonderful.
It's remembering who you're talking to. You have to remember that. There are people who have been together for a long time, maybe 10 years, 15 years, who every day they still have to relearn this lesson. If their partner is willing to sit there through the mess and through the disrespect. It's so vital. And it's so interesting because a lot of women, when they go to work or, when they're with their homegirls, they don't forget who they're talking to. When they're at work, when they're on the job, when they see that man that walk in the office that he's a person that signed a check, oh, they have no problem. They don't care if he's rude to them, if he's nasty, if he's, belittling them. They don't care because he's the person that signed the check. So I know that regardless of how I feel, I'm going to have to go talk to my homegirl in the break room or go talk to myself about it. But I'm going to have to deal with this person accordingly because of how I esteem them.
There was a video going around that basically just said it like this. A woman, will go into her job and she does what her boss tells her to do. And to some degree, a woman might even go into church and she'll do what her pastor tells her to do. Sometimes a woman who still has connection with her father might even try to do what her father tells her to do, or to at least try to work it out. But then she'll go to her husband, the man that's been there for her 5, 10, 15 years, and then she will just disrespect him. He will get the least amount of respect. And he is actually the most important person. Once a woman is married, her husband is the most important. And she should esteem him as high as possible until God is above him, because God is, at the top, and then her husband should be second. Yet a lot of women will go in and they'll do everything their boss tells them to do, but then they won't even do even half of what their husband asks them to do. And see, this is really where a lot of the problem is, because you can't be that way. When you're that way, it just basically shows that you're more concerned about your money than you are about anything else. And the Bible basically makes it clear. You cannot love God and love money. And if you go to God and you say, okay, God, who is more important? Is my job more important, or is my husband more important? God is going to tell you your husband is more important. He's going to tell you your children are more important. He's going to tell you your friends are more important. In fact, he's going to tell you that your job is all the way at the bottom. Because God knows that he can give you more money any other time, but it's very difficult for you to find that loving, wonderful husband. Okay? And God cares about the covenant of relationship, the covenant of marriage. So yes, your husband is more important. So if your husband says, hey, babe, can you go to the grocery store and pick up some groceries? You should be like, yeah, no problem. Now, if you're tired, if you're worn out, if you had a bad day, he is supposed to be that servant leader and come in and do it for you. But if he's been a good man, a loving man, a kind man, and he says, hey, babe, can you go to the grocery? You're going to be like, all right, I'm about to go. How much you want me to get? Let me write this down. Why? Because you would do it for your manager. If your manager was like, hey, come in, I want you to do this next proposal for me. I wanted you to do this project. I want you to do X, Y, Z. You'd be like, yes, sir, or yes, ma'am, no problem. I'll have it on the desk for you by the end of the day. So this is great. I definitely think a lot more women need to respect their husbands. I think a lot of them, and I honestly, like I said, men need to love, care for, take care of their wives. This goes both ways. It's never a one-way thing with me. It's always a both-way thing. We have to learn to put, our person before anybody else. And women, again, you have to put your husband above your children. And I know, again, that's where a lot of women have a hard time because they feel like their children will be there forever. And they still have that in the back of their mind that their children are going to be there forever. And this husband might die or he might divorce you or whatever. You really do have to walk in and believe. And I like what the original lady said, because one of the things that she's talking about is I'm speaking to him in the energy I want him to be in. And see, this is what I've been talking about a lot recently, where you have to walk in the energy, speak to the energy, move in the energy that you want to be, where you want to be. So you have to have a mindset of saying, I want to be married. I am a wife or I'm a husband. Not really and, it's just or, or I'm a husband. And then as you walk in that energy, that will manifest. Okay. So if you walk and talk, if you picked well, if you walk and talk, believing that your husband is a good man, okay, but you want him to turn into this slightly better man, just slightly, you're not going to get these 30% jumps, but you might get a 2% jump, but you walk and talk and move into that, then that generally manifests. It's the same thing for men with their wives. I've even had to learn that. I mean, your boy Steve Harvey had a really interesting video a long time ago where he was trying to give people game. See, a lot of people don't understand, Steve Harvey's an old school pimp, and he understands women more at that, raw level, I would say. And one of the things that he did, and guys that are watching here, is a pro tip. I'm trying to give you guys old school game. So one of the things that he would do is when his wife or girlfriend would wear something, he would almost always give it a compliment, because women, enjoy compliments. So if she had a dress on that he sort of liked, he didn't really like it all that much. So he would say, "Oh, Marjorie, yeah, looking good, Marjorie." And he would just leave it at that. It was never anything more than that. But when she would wear something that he just thought was a knockout, that he thought was like the best dress in her closet, or at least the top 10%, he'd be like, "Ooh, Marjorie, oh, girl, turn around. Oh, yeah, girl, right there." And through that, what his wife was basically learning is, my man likes this. He don't really like this. And see, those are those little tidbits that you do, and you're still keeping everything positive, because you have to watch positive and negative energy, because sometimes negative energy can really sit, especially for guys talking to women, it can really sit on a woman and in her spirit. So you don't really want to go to negative by saying, "No, I really don't like that." It might be better to go over the top. And that's why I made a video recently. If I find it, I'll put it up here. But I made a video with Steve Harvey because it's funny, because I've seen that behavior in Steve. And there's these women that are trying to say, "Hey, Steve, are we attractive? Hey, Steve, why we can't get no man?" And Steve is just like, "Yeah, y'all attractive. Yeah, you just got to work harder." And that is not Steve at all. Steve is over the top. And so what I've learned about, like I say, that old school pimp energy is that you can get a lot of what you want if you basically really kind of go in hard on it. But again, it's not to be disrespectful or anything, but it's just, just one of those tidbits that, I like to give in my videos. Anyway, please like, please subscribe, and I'm going to see you all in the very next video.